Governor Snyder from Michigan, also with us, President of Wayne State University, M. Roy Wilson. It is so great to have you guys for today. Thank you for having us here.
President Wilson, Mika's wearing the colors.
I got it. I got it. Does it look good? It's okay, right?
What do we have here?
My color.
For you. One's a medium,
Oh, I like that.
An extra large.
Oh, right here.
Well,
oh, extra large.
Mika needs that extra large.
He's
There's
gonna
no
need the
doubt.
double XL there.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
yours.
All right, there we go.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Hey, look at this, huh? What do you think? Man.
I love it.
It's fantastic. I will be wearing this after I, of course, altered because I'm very stout.
Right, exactly. You need the slim fit
exactly.
now. You've been working out so much.
Well, actually, that's not true, but still, we'll just go with it.
It's just like amazing.
Governor, there's so much to be excited about. There's a lot of challenges, obviously, with the city, but let's just... You talk about the universities, a university like this one, and you talk about the growth that can come out of this. What's happening right now? We talked about some of the exciting things that have happened, but how does bankruptcy actually help Detroit move past decades of mismanagement by politicians?
Yeah, Joe, it's great to have you here, by the way, because it is about Detroit, Michigan, and the huge comeback going on. And bankruptcy is a help. That's what I tell people. When you stop and look at it, Detroit had gone through decades of decline. And many things were already coming back. We've got Wayne State here, fabulous research institution, great education place. But the city itself, the city government, was slowing down the recovery. And so I viewed the bankruptcy as a solution to 50 years of problems. So now we're clearing the slate. We get to hit the reset button. Services are already improving within the city. Public safety's improved dramatically. Trash pickup, new lighting going on. So many great things are going on with city services. And so that really complements the whole comeback going on. In the community.
Have been tremendous challenges along the way. I mean,
yeah, we should never underestimate that. There's still a lot of work to be done. But if you go to the riverfront, Midtown, downtown Detroit, you're going to see a tremendously... The neighborhoods, we still have a lot of important work to do there, and we need to make sure that we get the neighborhoods coming back. And that there are good things going on, but we need to pick up the pace there.
Ron, got a question?
I got two, actually. Quickly, what do you say to the folks who are losing parts of their pensions that they were promised? And secondly, how do you handle this closing of the divide that's always been between Detroit and the rest of the state, black and white, south of 8 Mile, north of 8 Mile, which I think this kind of thing can only increase if it's not handled just well.
Yeah, both great questions. The first one, I empathize with the retirees. That was a tough call. That was a consequence of the bankruptcy, which is very difficult. The good part is we did the grand bargain, which is philanthropic community coming with the public sector, private sector people contributing to minimize the impact on these retirees. It made it dramatically less in terms of what they would otherwise face.
But it's still a dramatic cut for a lot of these people.
It still is a cut. But it's a fraction of what it was. Again, I don't want to underestimate it, but it improved the situation dramatically where they supported the bankruptcy settlement. So they got on board and actually voted to say, let's get this done, and I appreciate the sacrifice they're making. In terms of the divide, one question we've had in Michigan for far too long, not just with respect to Detroit, but it was sort of Detroit versus Michigan.
Right.
Now we're saying the mile, it's Detroit, Michigan. And we're seeing this in multiple efforts where regionalism's working. We just announced as part of the bankruptcy a Detroit Water and Sewer deal. That would be the Great Lakes Water Authority. We just announced the Regional Transit Authority. Both those projects were 50 years in the making. They'd been talked about for decades, never happened. We're getting them done right now. That's exciting.
Are these issues causing you a problem in your re-election?
It shouldn't. In fact, it's great to see the recovery of Detroit. I hope people are proud all across Michigan of what's going on here. People are excited. I mean, you should just literally ask the crowd. Young professionals are viewing Detroit as the place to be in the country right now. And I bet we could hear it from these folks.
You know, Governor, you can not only hear that from the crowd, you could hear it from Ron Fournier, whose daughter just moved, grew up in Washington.
Right there.
Where is she?
Stand up.
Stand up.
Okay.
She actually, and, you know, Ron's from Detroit. She grew up in Washington, D.C., but she wanted to come here and be part of the exciting revitalization that's happening here.
So, Dr. Wilson, let's talk about trying to keep the university thriving in this climate. Obviously, today you are hosting an event that really symbolizes what everybody wants to see happening more in this city. But what are the challenges?
Well, funding is always a challenge, particularly for public universities right now. But this year, the state of Michigan stepped up, and public education, higher education got a large boost after years of cuts, and that's been very, very helpful. So funding, I think, is a major challenge. But, you know, just in terms of Detroit and Wayne State, I think it's very important that research universities like Wayne State play a vital role in the revitalization of a city. There's no great American city without a great university that anchors it, and we're very proud to be an anchor for Detroit.
Yeah, and you certainly are, no doubt about it. Steve Ratner, obviously one of the great anchors for Detroit for a very long time, has been General Motors. General Motors has been going through a lot of problems with all the recalls going on. Is GM going to be okay? The company that obviously you had a big role in helping revive. Is GM going to get through this okay?
Yeah, GM's going to be fine. And if you look at their sales during this period, even with the recalls going on, even with the mistakes that were clearly made, consumers are able to differentiate between the cars that were made some years ago that had problems.
So what happened with the culture at GM years ago? The
culture was a get-along, go-along culture. Nobody ever wanted to be the one to say, hey, we got a problem here, hey, we got to do something different. It was a kind of pass the buck, very insular culture where nobody really wanted to stand up. And
sounds like the NFL.
It sounds like the NFL. Can I just ask one question of these two guys, though?
Yeah.
Without diminishing all the great news, one of the things that struck me during the Detroit bankruptcy was I think you put together something like $300 million of state money. I think Washington found something like $300 million of money from Washington. But right when this was going on, we sent $1 billion of aid to the Ukraine. So how do you all feel being in Michigan with the problems Detroit has, and with, I think we would all agree, still a long way to go and not a huge amount of money in the bankruptcy program for investment, $1 billion over 10 years, not really a lot. When you see money going overseas, but you don't see Washington really willing to help.
You got the water being turned off.
And you got the water being turned off in a major city in America.
Yeah, what I'd say is I don't dwell on all those issues because I'm not there to make decisions of why it's going to the Ukraine or not. What we've done in Michigan, though, is we pulled it together ourselves, of people helping one another. And I think that's the message we really need to send, that Michiganders from across the state said Detroit is our largest city, it's a tremendous asset to all of us, and we need to help one another. And so we put that together. In terms of assistance from Washington, there's been some very helpful things. We just had the M1 rail get kicked off. So if you go down Woodward Avenue, you're going to see construction all over the place. I got yelled at by my wife even over this one over the last weekend. And I said, honey, this is good construction. We're going to put in a light rail system that's going to make it even more appealing. And that was with tremendous assistance from the Department of Transportation.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I'm just going to say I agree with the governor that there's a lot of things going on that's good, both from the public sector and the private sector. And, you know, we're part of a global society, and stabilization in the world is important. So, you know, I'm not going to second guess the support that we give to other countries. But within Detroit, I think we're getting a lot.
It is extreme, though, some of the things that have happened here in Detroit and that people have had to live with. I think it's something to keep in mind as we help rebuild and give the city a place.